Abraham is one of the most important figures in the Catholic Bible and is honored as the father of faith. His story, found mainly in the book of Genesis, chapters 12 to 25, teaches believers what it means to trust God completely, even when the future is uncertain. For Catholics, Abraham is a powerful example of obedience, hope, and deep faith in God's promises. Abraham, originally named Abram, lived in a time when many people worshiped different gods. He was living in the city of Ur when God called him to leave his homeland and travel to a land that God would show him. God did not give him a detailed plan or a clear destination. Instead, he simply asked Abram to trust him. Abram obeyed. He left his home, his relatives, and everything familiar to follow God's voice. This moment marks the beginning of Abraham's journey of faith. God made 3 important promises to Abraham. First, he promised to give him land. Second, he promised that Abraham would become the father of a great nation. Third, he promised that through Abraham, all the nations of the earth would be blessed. These promises seemed impossible at the time, because Abraham and his wife Sarah were old and had no children. Yet Abraham continued to believe in God. One of the most touching parts of Abraham's story is the promise of a son. God told Abraham that he and Sarah would have a child, even though Sarah was far past the age of bearing children. At first, they struggled to believe. Sarah even laughed when she heard the news. But nothing is impossible for God. In time, Sarah gave birth to Isaac, the child of promise. Isaac became a sign that God always keeps his word. The greatest test of Abraham's faith came later. God asked him to offer his beloved son Isaac as a sacrifice. This command was extremely difficult and painful. Isaac was not only Abraham's son, but also the child through whom God's promises were to be fulfilled. Still, Abraham chose to obey. He trusted that God had a plan, even if he did not understand it. When Abraham prepared to sacrifice Isaac, God stopped him at the last moment and provided a ram instead. This event showed that Abraham truly trusted God above everything else. In Catholic teaching, this story is also seen as a symbol of God the Father offering his own Son, Jesus Christ, for the salvation of the world. Abraham's obedience foreshadows the ultimate act of love found in the New Testament. Because of his faith, Abraham is honored not only in the Old Testament, but also in the New Testament. St. Paul speaks of Abraham as a model for all believers. He explains that Abraham was made righteous because he believed in God. This teaches Catholics that faith is not only about words, but about trusting God with one's life and actions. Abraham's relationship with God was personal and close. He spoke with God, prayed for others, and even pleaded for mercy for the people of Sodom. This shows that faith includes both trust and compassion. Abraham cared about others and asked God to show mercy, reflecting a heart shaped by faith. For Catholics today, Abraham's life offers several important lessons. First, faith means trusting God even when the path is unclear. Like Abraham, believers are often called to step forward without knowing all the details. Second, faith requires obedience. It is not enough to believe in God. We must also follow his will. Third, faith involves patience. Many of God's promises to Abraham took years to be fulfilled, reminding us that God's timing is perfect. Abraham is also important in Catholic tradition because he is part of the family line that leads to Jesus Christ. God's promise that all nations would be blessed through Abraham is fulfilled in Jesus, who brings salvation to the whole world. In the Mass, Catholics remember Abraham as part of God's plan of salvation that began long before the coming of Christ. In the end, Abraham's story is a story of trust. He left everything familiar, waited many years for God's promises, and remained faithful even during difficult tests. His life teaches that true faith means believing that God is good, faithful, and worthy of our complete trust. For this reason, Abraham is called the father of faith. His example continues to inspire Catholics to walk with God courageously, to trust in his promises, and to live each day with hope, obedience, and love. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next video.